Hello, welcome back to my channel, The Star Means Hope, and my name's Laura. This is my tarot test drive series where I work with one specific deck for, well, it's not really a specific time, it's usually around a month, a few weeks to a month. And so for this month, for this video, I'm working with the Millennial Tarot, which is new to me. So with this series, I either use a deck that's new to me or a deck I want to reconnect with that might have been in my collection for a while, but I haven't really used or haven't used for a while. But in this case, it's a new deck to me. Now, full disclosure, I have been using this for a whole month already, but I forgot to film any videos. I was just using it. So I'm now going to use it for another few weeks and actually film this time. So I have been using it, whoops, I'm dropping things. I have been using it a lot already. And I do have some thoughts, but I'm going to save them for the end. I believe it was my it'll be my June wrap-up video, because that's when I got it. I think I talked about getting this deck and my kind of initial thoughts about it, which were mainly to do with how I found it really difficult to shuffle. Now, since I have been using it, I have found a way. It's not actually, I said it was impossible to shuffle. It is big. I mean, I have quite big hands and it's big. It's long, so I can only just like put my fingers around it like this. And I was like, this is impossible to shuffle, it's impossible to riffle, which it is. But I have found, working with it, that if I just take a few cards from the back, the ones that I can comfortably reach, and then shuffle it that way, that's been working. So I'm just going to keep, so I just have to shuffle it a few more times than I would normally, overhand. But I prefer shuffling this way to this way, because when I shuffle this way, they just go all over the place, and I can't do it very well. So yeah, so I'm going to be shuffling it. I found it a bit more comfortable to work with over these last few weeks, and I've got my way with it now. So yeah, right. I really like the backs of these decks. Oh, I said so. It's the Millennial Tarot. It is based on kind of millennial. It has millennial. They have kind of millennial meanings and titles on the cards, which when I first bought this, I thought it was just going to be a bit of a novelty deck, to be honest. But it's been interesting to work with. It's definitely more than a novelty deck. You can use it that way, and I have been, but I have actually used it for some quite like in-depth kind of readings as well. So these are the extra cards you get with it. So you've got an online guidebook, which just takes you to the website. Anyone can go on there anyway. And then this one, you've got some really fun, like quick spreads. And then these slightly bigger spreads on the back, this relationship one and a career one. Now I have actually tried out, I think most of these ones. I will do these ones again and film them for this, or I might do one of these. But yeah, I will do some of these spreads as part of this video as well. I always like to use some, if a deck has spreads with it, like included in the guidebook or on little cards like this one, I do like to use them as part of my deck bonding or getting to know a certain deck. So yeah, so I haven't really got, I suppose that's it for my introduction, because I have, like I say, I have been using it already. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a deck interview with this one this time. We'll see. I think I'm going to start with I'm going to do my deck bonding piles of cards again first, which I think I'll start with now. Okay, so what I like to do sometimes when I get a new deck in is sort them into trying to work out my favourite card and my least favourite card, just so that it means something more when it comes up to them in readings. Now most of them are just going to be like neutral cards because I already like the deck, otherwise I wouldn't have bought it. I'm not a massive fan of the art. This deck is it's going to be different doing this, I think, because the artwork doesn't necessarily... I'm more drawn to the phrases on these cards than the artwork itself. I believe this is AI art, which I'm still working out what I think about it. I'm not planning to get loads of decks that are done in that way, but so I find some of the artwork a bit distracting and a bit creepy on this deck, so I'm going to mainly base it on, well, it'll be a mixture. It'll be mainly the millennial phrases as well, though. I do like the court cards, so I'm just going to keep them neutral, but I do like the court cards because they kind of give you a bit of a hint as to what the card meaning might be, which I like. Some of them are just funny. I think I probably will end up, it'll be something that I think is funny as my first one, probably. See, I like the Who Run the World for the Queen of Swag, which is Pentacles. I do like the Queen of Wands. Okay, so this is my pile of just neutral. They're the ones that I like them. I don't have there's nothing, I don't love them. I like them. Some of them I really like. They're just ones I don't necessarily want to talk about. These are the ones that I think are my least favourite. Breezy Branch is the world. I get why it's a millennial thing. I'm not quite sure why it's the world. I have to say the guidebook does have some good insights in it as well. This one, I mean, it works with the Six of Pentacles. It's just, I don't know, just a bit boring. This one, I do get quite a lot. This one just creeps me out, like the face just creeps me out. And the same with these, actually. These ones are just creepy. And with the Ten of Fields, so that's the Cups, Ten of Cups, I want something, this doesn't feel like a Ten of Cups card to me. Further, actually that makes sense. And the Three of Thoughts, which is the Three of Swords, that will make sense too. I think the ones I don't like are going to be the ones that are artwork related. I like how it's femme as the Ten of Cups, but I just don't, these people look really grumpy and sad, which doesn't fit with the Ten of Cups to me. So I think that's going to be my least favourite card. I've got quite a lot actually in my love card. I like the Queen of Swords as an independent woman. Oh, the Five of Swords as gaslighting. I think that works really well. The Five of Swords is usually this kind of conflict, but this makes, well, it is a conflict still, but it's more, you know, other people affecting your thoughts and what you think about things, what you think about yourself. And I think that is really interesting, and it links more to the sword suit than the Rider-Waite-Smith one does actually. So I think that's a really clever card overall. Same with Inner Work for the Eight of Cups. I like this. I actually like the artwork on this card. Ten of Vibes, which is Ten of Wands, Burnt Out. I think that one works really, really well as a phrase. Work-life balance for the Two of Pentacles. I tend to think of this as the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles as work-life balance anyway. I really like the vision board as the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Thoughts. And I don't hate the artwork for that one. That's going to go in there. Right, the Four of Cups, binge watching. I think that is such a good card for this, a good phrase for it. You know, the Four of Cups is sometimes like this boredom, apathy kind of card. And I think binge watching, especially for millennials, like, I can't really explain it, it just works so well. You might have all of the, you might really want to be doing something, but you just, you know, you just sit there and you just scroll on your phone, you're just watching things mindlessly. And I think that really works. I just like the phrase on this one. So the fuck boy as the devil. I just think that's humorous. Sunday scaries. I just think this is such a good millennial phrase. For the Nine of Swords, Nine of Thoughts. I like that. Dumpster fire is the Tower. I mean, the Tower is normally, you know, not a very nice card. And the fact this makes me laugh. It's a really funny phrase to go with the Tower, because it is the dumpster fire, but it's that very millennial kind of humour that goes with it. Like, everything is an absolute shit show. You know, your life is falling apart. And I just think the phrase dumpster fire is hilarious for that. This one, I think I've just put it in here for the nostalgia, because there's a Tamagotchi on it. I used to love my Tamagotchi. Although I very nearly bought a Tamagotchi the other day because I saw them. They're coming back because everything 90s is coming back. I saw some on Amazon and I was like, oh my God, I need to get a Tamagotchi. And then I was like, no, I don't. I like them as a nostalgic thing. I think if I had one now, I'd get really frustrated with it because it was actually really annoying to try and keep them alive. Literally obsessed. I just really like the phrase on this one. But that's going to go in there. I just wanted to mention it. I really like the patriarchy as the emperor. Yeah, it works. Off the grid for the hermit. I like that too. Can't even for the Ten of Thoughts. Ten of Swords. I like the tennis. I have a kind of weird but good relationship with the Ten of Swords. I know it's one of the you know, arguably one of the worst cards in the deck. But when I first started working with tarot, I don't know, I had a really real connection with the Ten of Swords. I was definitely in a Ten of Swords moment when I started with my tarot journey. So I think I just have some sort of connection to it now. I like that phrase. I've already talked about this one, but I like this phrase as well. I like these two for the Queens, Independent Woman and Who Run the World. I do like both of these. Right, which one's going to be my favourite? And if I'm going to go with art or just the phrase or the overall, I think I just need to go with one that's overall, don't I? It just works overall. It might end up being the Tower. I never would have thought the Tower would be a favourite card ever. I think it's... one of these. Can I have two? Can I have two favourite cards? I like both of these. I think I'm going to go the Tower just over it, just because, again, with the kind of, because of the style of art, which I'm still not 100%, like I say, convinced it's AI, but I think it is. The faces are creepy. So I think that's just gonna, I love the phrase and the idea behind it, but the faces seem to be creepy. Right, so favourite just because it's humorous. least favourite because they've got creepy sad faces and it's the Ten of Cups. There's supposed to be a beach behind it as well, I can't tell. Anyway, they're my favourite, least favourite cards in this deck. Okay, I've decided to do one of the 3 card spreads on here. I don't know if to do the Lost and Found or the Doing the Work ones. I'm going to do the Doing the Work, so it's my unconscious thoughts, my conscious thoughts, and where to focus my thinking. I'm probably just going to do this as a hypothetical type reading, just to see how it works, and so it doesn't get too personal. I don't think I'm going to have a specific question. I think it's just we'll see what the deck wants to talk to me about. So unconscious thoughts, conscious thoughts, and where to focus my thinking. Okay. Oops, knocked my teacup over. Oh. Okay. I'm not really going to be able to use the guidebook for this one because I'm using my phone to film. So I'm just going to have to kind of go. I like to use the guidebook when I'm doing the deep dives for specific decks, but we'll just have to go with it. So my unconscious thoughts. So the 4 of Fields, which is the 4 of Cups, and the binge watching, which I talked about a little while ago on the favourites. So what is unconscious? Maybe it is just the fact that we are like binge watching and just mindlessly scrolling, and you know, going through life, and you sometimes, you know, a whole day can go past and you're like, what have I actually done today? I don't know. I haven't actually been doing anything. So I feel like that's the unconscious thoughts, because you're not really aware of like why we're doing it. We're just you just keep going. Conscious thoughts is maybe the knowing. So this is, you know, you're just sitting in your house, not really doing anything, just kind of coasting through life. The conscious thoughts are maybe, you know, you want to be getting out there. You want to be moving on from this. You don't necessarily want to be stuck in this energy. You want to be moving on. This is interesting because so the 6 of Swords is usually like a moving on from something to something better. This phrase, a girl's trip, I've never really thought of the 6 of Swords in this way, but it's making me think, you know, you need your people, your squad, if you like, your group of friends around you to help you through the process, maybe. Actually, the 6 of Swords does usually have another person in the boat. It's usually a boat being like rowed by someone else, and someone escaping from one situation into something better. So I suppose it does have that connection of other people helping you. Anyway, the conscious thoughts, I feel like this is saying, you know, you might need to try and get out of this energy, you might need some help, you might need your friends around you to actually kind of push you to go out and actually do things. So I like that. And where to focus my thinking, I'm going to take this as the reverse. So the 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Swag, furlough, you know, you're kind of down on your luck, things haven't been going really well. So the where to focus is like how to turn that around. So again, I feel like it's how to get away from these 2 energies towards this middle one. So focus your thinking, not on the things that have made you feel shit, not the things that are making you feel down and like things are pointless and you're really down on your luck at the moment, but how you can get out of it, and you know, any kind of glimmer of hope that there might still be, like hold on to that rather than sinking further into the more depressing feelings or the sadness. Like try to cling to some hope and try to like claw your way back out of it, maybe with help of some other people. Yeah. Again, if that resonated with anyone, feel free to take it, but I was just kind of saying what the cards are putting out there. I do like how this has a different take to some of the cards that I haven't necessarily thought about before. I do really like that. And I do resonate with these phrases. Maybe it's because I am a millennial. If anyone's watching this who is either younger or older, I'd be interested to see what you think of these. Or is it very specific to millennials? I think it probably would be. Or at least I don't think people would necessarily connect to it as much if you're not a millennial. Anyway, I am, so I'm just going to go with that. So yes, that was my like a 3-card spread, and I feel like it works really well for that. And it kind of really, I think that particular reading shows what I was talking about how it does have a deeper, it does resonate, and it is deeper than it looks with when you first get it and you think, oh, this is just going to be, you know, like a novelty deck. It definitely is deeper than that, and I do like that about it. I think it might even be quite good for shadow work sometimes. I'll maybe have to do a shadow work spread at some point. Okay, so this part of the video, I thought I'd do deck pairings so I can see what other decks in my collection I have that might go with this deck. Now, I haven't thought too much about this at all. I literally just went through my cupboard where I store all my decks and just randomly picked out the ones that I think might go with it. But I'm not sure, and to be honest, I don't really think I have a lot that will go with it, so we'll see what happens. Okay. I'll just put some cards in the middle and have a little go. Oh, in fact, I'll start with the one that I have paired with it already that does work. So this one does definitely work. This is the Prism Oracle. I have been using this one this month with it already, and this has been working. I don't know if it will now, but I've had some really good messages with both of these, and I have actually posted some on my Instagram page recently. So if you are interested, you could go over there. Let's see if anything comes up that's here. See, I feel like this works because you've got the binge watching, the 4 of Cups and the 8 of Cups, inner work and kind of consciousness. Maybe you're drawing attention to things that you need to work on. The colours definitely go, like the fact that this is just kind of block colour, I think goes well with this deck. It's not too busy with everything. This one's higher than the other one, it's annoying me. This is interesting. So you've got imposter syndrome with success. So maybe it's working on this, so it's seeing your successes where you might feel like you're not being successful. Again, with the Ace of Wands helping you towards success. See, colour-wise, these ones kind of go. See, these go as well. feeling like maybe you need to kind of move on from something, trust your intuition, gain comfort from somewhere else or from yourself if you're feeling sad. Frustration and the fuckboy, that goes. Frustration and the devil in general goes. So yeah, I definitely think this one goes. I have used this a lot already together. This is what I did pair it with when I've been using it this month. So, but yeah, let's do one more. Okay, I like this space card. Right, let me get rid of this one. So that one definitely does work. I think it works aesthetically as well as with the messages. Just reset some of this. Shove it up a bit. Let's check this is still in frame. Okay, I was carrying on with Oracle. I've got a couple of tarot to pair with this actually. The next one I thought of was the Creatures Oracle. Might go because again this is quite I don't want to say it's not simple in a bad way. It's just kind of it's not hugely busy, and I feel like this is. So it's more of a contrast. Although some of the cards in here are, but it's also a lot of bright colours, which I think might go to. Oops. Oh dear, this isn't going very well, is it? I'll move my tea out of the way, that might help. Okay, so let's see. My confidence and the Queen of Swords. Here we go. I like the keywords on this deck. Escape and the Ten of Swords is interesting together actually. I feel like this is interesting as well. Resilience with like gaslighting, the Five of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Compassion and temperance seems to actually, and Ace of Cups. This is nice pairing. I'm not 100% sure about the art style together, but I do think it works on a certain level. It's an interesting pairing that I feel like I want to play around with and do some proper readings with and see if it would work before writing it off. Six of Swords and Help is interesting, especially in this deck. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos where I've talked about this. It might have even been earlier in this video with the Six of Swords and this particular deck bringing the attention to needing the help from other people to maybe get out of a certain situation. The Truth and the Star. So yeah, I feel like there's maybe some potential here. Oh, like Commitment and the Lovers is a good one. Lost and a vision board, like maybe using a vision board to make you stop feeling lost, so you've got something to focus your attention on. And there's definitely something here that's worth exploring further, I think. What else have I got? I'll just count the oracles. I've only got one tarot that I thought it might pair with, actually. I've got the Chakra Love, which is a mini deck. But again, with the bright colours. Now I've got this in order, I need to shuffle it up a bit. I think it would go just because it's colours and it's just got some colours on it and a phrase, like the colours that relate to the chakra. So I feel like this could work. It's just got a keyword and then a crystal that it links to, the chakra that it links to, a keyword and a phrase. Like self-love and the hermit together. And the colours all match with the wands and the root chakra cards. Yeah, I feel like this could work as well with the phrases. Oh, a foundation and 2 kings, that's interesting. I think of the kings as having that emperor energy, like structure and foundation. Yeah, I feel like this could be interesting again as well. I feel like manifestation and the aces could go. And the truth and 2 swords cards is interesting. Like the throat chakra, that feels very swords and air. So speak from your heart is the only thing worth listening to. So it's self-care for the 4 of swords and like resting. This is kind of the nightmares and anxieties. There's something here I think as well. I feel like I need to actually use these all together to see if they will work. I think this is good actually. So 5 of Pentacles and compassion and the 3 of Swords and compassion. Yeah, there's definitely something here that I want to explore. I don't really understand these cards in this deck. The balance ones. They don't have the same format as all the other cards. Yeah, anyway, I feel like this one is also worth exploring. So maybe when I was saying I don't think I have anything that goes, maybe it's just that on a surface level or aesthetically they might not, but when I actually use them they will. Let's just give this a bit of a shuffle again. This is making me excited to pair them up in proper readings and see what I get with them. It'll be interesting. Let me just see what else I've got here. Oh, the Animal Apothecary. Again, I thought just because it's bright colours it might go. That was just my initial thoughts with it, without thinking too hard about what I want to pair with. So even the colours on this already are matching. I feel like the 10 of Pentacles and the It's in You is is really good. And even the fact that this has loads of crystals in the background, linking it to that kind of earthy energy again. I feel like these two cards go really well together in message and aesthetics. Actually, these go as well because this is because the Nine of Pentacles here is the first time homeowner. Actually, yeah, I think this whole message, that these might be things that you're striving towards, and this is saying, you know, you can get there. Oh, this is interesting pairing as well. Victory in between the Magician, which is kind of about manifesting whatever you desire, and the Ace of Pentacles, which is kind of an opportunity or the start of doing that. Keep trying. And Temperance. Temperance is something that I'm always striving to. I never feel balanced, so keep trying. And also the Knight of Wands being like going for what you are passionate about. Keep trying. I think that's interesting too. You know, I feel like maybe all of these so far have worked on some level. It's making me excited to actually use some Oracle with this deck, because I haven't really done that a lot before, apart from with the Prism Oracle. See, Master Manifester, that would go well with some, not necessarily in here, but if it came up with like the Magician, for example, that would work. Now, inner conflict resolution with the Ten of Wands and Death. Definitely something there too. I like this pairing. Inner truth, and then between two swords. Because sometimes I think of the swords or the thoughts as being like trapped in your own head about things. Maybe not trusting it, anxiety, all those kinds of, I suppose they're like the shadow aspects of the sword suit. But kind of trusting your inner truth. I feel like these work. I don't know if I'm actually finishing all of my thoughts here. I have thoughts in my head and then I don't actually say them out loud, or I sometimes will start saying something and then go off onto something else. I don't know if you've noticed that in my videos before. Apologies, that's just how my brain works. This is really interesting with the Tower. Shake, release, heal, move on. So that kind of shake up and chaos, but then leading to maybe something better further down the line. I like that. So sometimes you might pull the Tower and be like, oh no, not the Tower. But then with this card, it would give you that kind of more helpful, positive spin on it, I guess. Actually, and the Ten of Swords, I didn't even look at this one. Ten of Swords is the same thing. I feel like the Ten of Swords and the Tower are quite similar in that sense. Breakthrough in the world is interesting. Yeah, there's definitely something here. You're about to shine in the star. Okay, these are like really, really pairing up well. I feel like this could have some really powerful messages here. Anyway, I think I'm spending a bit too long on these. But this is definitely another one I'm excited to work with and see what comes up. Another one I thought might pair well is the Spiritual AF which I don't tend to use as an oracle. I tend to use it just for messages, and like it's just a kind of a bit of fun. But I feel like the energy might be the same because this is a bit too high. This has kind of very millennial vibes to me overall. So I feel like the messages might work quite well. And it might just be to have like fun millennial style readings possibly. Oh look, people aren't ignoring you, and the ghoster. This could be the day you stop doing that self-destructive thing you do with the 8 of Cups. That's interesting. Why do these feel like they go? Yeah, I feel like I need to play around with these ones. Yeah, I feel like this one might be quite interesting. Let's take one more. Right, let's have a go with something else. I've only got 2 more actually that I'm thinking of that might pair with it. I don't know what I've done to this box. So I've got one more oracle and one more and one tarot. Let's give these a bit of a shuffle. In fact, I'm going to do the tarot first because I'm not convinced that it will. The last one, I'm not convinced this one will work, and the last one might. I'd rather end on one that might work. So I've got the Friends Tarot out, just because, again, for the millennial kind of theme. I feel like most millennials watched Friends, or it's that kind of era. So I thought I would just see if they go. They're completely different art styles. And this is too high. I don't tend to pair tarot with tarot very often. Sometimes I might clarify with a different tarot deck instead of the same one, because I think it can be powerful if you get the same card again as a clarifier. And you can't do that if you don't get that if you use the same tarot deck to clarify that you've already been using, if that makes sense. So I do occasionally. I haven't for a while actually, but I think it's interesting to pair tarot with tarot sometimes. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I haven't really got a lot to say about this at the moment, to be honest. They're definitely completely different art styles. But again, I think it might be worth playing around with and just seeing. See 2 pentacles either side of a 2 of cups. Seems like there's a message there. Like you found your partner, your soulmate, whatever you believe in, and about kind of building a home together. I don't know. So you've got 2 4 of Swords that come out together. So if this was a real reading, it might be like, okay, you definitely need to focus on this energy here. And it's giving you different ways to say self-care. Maybe that might be, you know, curling up on your sofa, listening to your favourite music. I don't know. I definitely want to play around with it. But yeah, I think that's enough for this video anyway. Right, so that was the Friends Tarot. And then I've got one more, which is, it is an oracle, but it's more, I tend to use it for very specific work, which is the Codependent Perfectionist's Oracle. It's more kind of therapy based, and I tend to use this I don't know which way around to put these. I tend to use this very much for, I'll pick out a specific card that I might want to work on. So for example, let's see, compassion. Maybe I want to work on, with my shadow work, I want to work on having more self-compassion. So I will put this card in the middle and then I'll pull cards around it. That's how I tend to use it. I haven't really used it for anything else actually. So yeah, this is kind of, it's got some, I really like the art style, and it has this keyword, which sometimes it's quite hard to see on the card. And then on the back, it has a little write-up, kind of a therapy, from a therapy point of view. And it really makes you think sometimes, and it has extra questions and things on it as well. So it's like having the guidebook entry on the back of the card. But yeah, so let's see. These are a bit high. Compassion and the Queen of Cups. So like focusing on your own needs, about what you actually want, what you feel, and how you want to do that. I really like this artwork for ego. It's like someone's being eaten up inside by this monster inside. Presence and justice is interesting, especially in this particular deck, with the kind of fighting for other people, having some presence for other people. Balance and hustle culture. Like that there's a sun in this and a sun card. This is like a nice message. Communication with the kind of collaboration, working with other people card is nice. Yeah, self-care and worth. Belief with the Nine of Pentacles is quite nice. Like, believe that you can get what you want out of life. Resentment in the Five of Pentacles is good too. Might be like about, you know, you're resenting that you're in this position right now, but you need to try and move on from it. Like how the van is going away from this. But yeah, anyway, I feel like there might be something here as well. So after my initial thoughts of being, oh, I haven't got anything that goes with this deck, I feel like I actually have. So I'm excited to work with these now, actually, and see what messages come out. In fact, maybe they'll do part of this video as a message with Oracle and see what happens. But yeah, so that was all of my deck pairings to go with this deck. For this part of the video, I wanted to do a specific spread and see how these decks work together. It's something that I do with this deck in particular, which is the Codependent Perfectionists Oracle cards, which I mentioned in my deck pairings section. I use this deck very specifically, so I will pick out a card. Sometimes I'll shuffle and draw one that way, but usually I will intentionally pick a card to work with. So it might be like self-love or I don't know, joy, and I will then ask the tarot how I can bring more of that energy into my life. So I thought I'd choose for this one balance, because I feel like that would be quite good as a kind of generalized message to do for this video, sort of like a hypothetical one. So I usually start by looking at the imagery, reading the back of the card, and then deciding what questions I'm going to ask. So I'll read the back of this. So it says, as codependents and perfectionists, we live in extremes. One example is a codependent's comfort in giving but not receiving. Balance is giving and receiving equally. Receiving may be related to love, support, or even compliments. As perfectionists, we may invest our time into working towards success, but may not invest the time we need to take care of ourselves. To stay in balance, we must include self-nurturing. If you drew this card, it may be a good time to look at what in your life needs more balance. Are you doing but not nurturing? Giving but not receiving? Do you live more in your masculine or your feminine aspect? Which one needs your attention? So I would ask a kind of general question first for this. So I might say, sometimes these cards have the questions they have, you can use as journal prompts. I wouldn't really use these ones. So I might ask first, what area of my life needs to be more in balance, or which area of my life is out of balance at the moment. So then I would pull a card. We've actually got work-life balance as the card here. So the Two of Pentacles, Two of Swag, which is actually called work-life balance in this deck. So, so the area that might need some balance here in this reading is between our working life and our non-working life. So I would then, usually it might take me a bit longer to pull out the message, but this is literally just right there. So I love it when things like this happen. So then I would ask how. So how can I bring this area more into balance? How can I have more of a work-life balance? Okay, so we've got the Six of Swords, the Six of Thoughts. I'll just take this one card for now. So I feel like the Six of Swords is about moving on from something, but I'm not going to read it in this sense for this reading because it's about work-life balance, and this deck in particular has a very different imagery to the traditional Six of Swords, and this is saying girls trip better together are the keywords, key phrases on here. So I would say that this particular reading is about taking time for yourself, making sure you're not just working all the time. Make sure you're going out and having some fun and seeing other people as well, not just work, work, work all the time. So yeah, sometimes I would then kind of end the reading there as quite a, this one is quite a cut and dry, simple message here. Sometimes it needs a few more cards and I might pull out a few more cards. I might ask a few more questions if I'm not sure. And sometimes this is usually the shortest, it ends up being like a 3-card spread. But yeah, so that this one in particular worked really well because it came out with a card about balance, which was interesting. Like I say, sometimes it might be a bit longer and I might pull out a few cards and have more of a reading. Yeah, but this worked really well. So I thought I'd do a quick reading just with one oracle card, one tarot card, as a kind of like a 1-card reading but with an oracle as well. So I'm trying to decide which way around I want to do it. I should have probably planned this first. I don't know whether to do a tarot and a clarifying. Yeah, you know what, I haven't used it as a clarifier yet. I've only used the oracle as a focus, haven't I? So I'll do it as clarifying. So I'll pull one tarot card for now. So we'll just have a kind of basic something, a message we need to hear. Oops, too many cards coming out. Right, so we've got the Ten of Vibes, which is the Ten of Wands, and Burnt Out. Okay, so I would then ask this deck for a clarifying card. So can we clarify the Ten of Wands? I'm not even sure if this oracle deck is good at clarifying. So I've got immense growth. Okay, so it might be that so we're feeling burnt out, we're feeling like taking on too much, but ultimately the ones are about passion. So maybe we've taken on a lot, but it is something that we're passionate about, and maybe it's going to lead to growth. So maybe it'll be worth it in the end. I'm just going to read what the guidebook for this card says, because especially with oracles, I tend to use these all the time. So it's immense growth, it's the Vulture. The Vulture comes to speak to us about the wisdom of the sacredness of suffering. So in Buddhism, the first noble truth is all life involves suffering. It's not something to be escaped, but to be accepted. Yeah, so even that much of reading the guidebook, and there's still another, for this card, there's another it's 2 full pages in here about it, but that already has clarified in the way I thought it was. So it is about, sometimes we have to suffer and feel burnt out and worn out in order to grow. So my initial reaction, my intuition with this card, that was the link. So yeah, so that has worked really well as well. So it works in this way. It's also given me a bit of insight into how this deck is working too, because this is new. This was new. If you saw my July wrap-up video, this was a birthday present, so I've only just been using this one. So I haven't really used it a lot, but these are these are working well together, and I think this was the one in my deck pairings that I thought was going to work the best as well, I believe. I've just been playing with this and I've just seen the back of the deck as well. Here we've got almost there. So I feel like that could even be brought in too. And there's this repeating circular pattern on all three of these cards. So yeah, we're suffering at the moment, but it's something that we're just having to go through in order to grow, and we're almost there. I like that message. Something else that I like to do when I am getting to know a deck, because I don't really read for other people, and I find that quite often I'll get the same messages. If I'm just reading for myself, I get repeating messages all the time. So sometimes what I like to do is just have a play and pretend I'm reading for someone else. So I'll do like hypothetical readings for someone else in certain areas. So it might be like, you know, if someone was asking me a question about work or a question about relationships, just to kind of, well, one, practice. It's kind of how I learnt the meanings of the cards as well. It was a really big part of that. When I first started reading tarot, I would just sit down every evening and pull 3 cards out and try and make a story out of it, or try to like pretend I was reading for someone else. Because I feel like when you're just reading for yourself, you can get a bit in your head all the time. And it helps me connect to a deck as well and see how it would read. So I'm going to pretend that I'm reading for someone about work. Let's do work. So someone's come to me and asked me a question, general question about work. So let's see what comes up. So we've got Temperance, Imposter Syndrome, 8 of Pentacles, and the Ace of Thoughts, which is the Ace of Swords. Okay. So I feel like this is saying there needs to be some sort of balance at work. So maybe there's an imbalance at work at the moment. This person is feeling, well, they're feeling like an imposter. They're feeling like they can't really do the job that they're supposed to be doing. And that's what's leading to this feeling of imbalance. And I feel like the Ace of Swords is saying that there needs to be, you need to gain some sort of clarity here, you know, cut through the crap. Vision, so it's a vision board on this particular deck. I feel like it's saying it's like a moment of clarity, the Ace of Swords. When I read 3 cards like this, sometimes it can be kind of a bit of a past, present, future. So it could be that, you know, in the very near past, so what's been happening is feeling imbalanced. At the moment, this person is feeling like they're an imposter at work. But in the future, it's going to become a bit clearer. Something's going to suddenly click for them, or they're going to have some sort of some mental clarity around the situation to do with this imposter syndrome. It's interesting, actually. I've just seen in this deck these pictures that are on this vision board in the background. This one in particular looks a bit like this one here. So the 8 of Pentacles traditionally is about kind of just that kind of working at a skill as well. So maybe the clarity here is going to come from realising that actually it's okay that you don't feel like everything is perfect at the moment. Everyone feels like an imposter sometimes. But if you keep working at it, the kind of slow chipping away at it and working at it, you're going to get more confident and things are going to become more balanced at work. Yeah, I feel like that is quite a full reading there. Yeah, so and I do this quite a lot, where I'll just sit and I'll read hypothetically, because I feel like otherwise I just tend to look at things through my lens for myself. And I think that does actually then help me read for myself as well, because I can look at it a bit more kind of objectively. If I'm pretending to read for someone else, sometimes it happens and I then realise, oh, actually, that message was probably for me. But I might not have read it the same way if I had thought, I'm going to do a reading for myself, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me. And yeah, I feel like this deck has been working really, really well this month for me. And particularly with work, things to do with work and things to do with like specific goals. It's been, and like motivation, those kinds of readings, this deck has been really good for, and I feel like it's one I would pull out for those kinds of readings in the future. But yeah, so that was fun. I do that quite often, just trying to piece together a kind of story or a hypothetical reading for someone else. Okay, these are kind of this is my final reflections section of this video. I've been using this a lot. I said at the beginning, I used it for like a whole month and I forgot to film any content of me using it. And I've kind of filmed the majority of these videos over about the last week and a half maybe. So not as long as I would usually spend, but I had been using it for a whole month before. So I feel like I was just able to do this bit a bit quicker because I knew what I wanted to practice it with, if that makes sense. So I think I said in one of the last videos that you've just seen, that I have decided that this works really, really well for readings to do with work, readings to do with being motivated towards your goals, maybe even goal setting. I feel like they're things I wouldn't hesitate to use this deck for that. I'll show some cards while I'm talking, I might as well. I don't know if that is just because it's a millennial thing, and like, I don't know about other millennials, but I feel like work is kind of a big area. I suppose it is for everyone, but yeah. And goal setting and kind of wands kind of energy is what I get from this deck, really, as a pulled all the wands. I have used it for other things as well. I've used it for other readings throughout the month. I used it for a Leo season spread. I used it for, it was either a new moon or a full moon reading. I can't remember which one now. I used it solidly for a week or 2 weeks. 2 weeks, it was 2 weeks for my daily cards, my daily pulls. And it has been good for all of them. I have found that I've wanted to pick this deck up all the time. I've wanted to use this deck a lot. It's definitely not one where I've been like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing a deep dive of this deck, but I want to use a different deck for this reading. This has been the one deck this month that I have done the majority of my readings with. And I've consistently wanted to pick it up and wanted to use it. I really like it. And it's one of those decks that's kind of surprised me, because I said earlier, I feel like when I got it, I wanted it for the kind of novelty value and the kind of millennial. I thought it would be quite humorous and funny as a kind of millennial themed deck. And it does have that side to it, and I've definitely used it for just kind of fun readings as well. But it has been really good for kind of deeper readings, and I definitely wouldn't just use it as a fun novelty deck. I would definitely use it for in-depth readings, and this specifically, or in particular should I say, if I had a specific question about work or like working relationships or goal setting, I would definitely think, oh, I could use this deck for that. It's definitely got a lot more depth than I thought it was going to when I first got it, from my initial thoughts. Yeah, I like how it does have all the kind of astrological associations on the card as well, and the and the elements, the elemental meanings as well for each card, which would be good for beginners. I'm not sure if I would suggest it could, I mean, it could be a beginner deck, because I think you can kind of gather what's going on from the phrases. The phrases are really good. But yeah, I just think it's got a lot, it's been very well thought out, and there's a lot more going for it than you kind of initially think. And even the art has kind of grown on me throughout the month of using it as well. I still think it's like a bit weird and creepy, and I like weird and creepy art. This is kind of, I think because it's AI, it's like weird and creepy, but in a, I don't know, not so good way. Like, it just kind of all looks the same. Like, there's been quite a few AI decks out recently, and this is the only one that I would consider that I'm planning to get anyway. I don't want all my decks to look the same. I want all my decks to all be different and have different meanings and different interpretations. But yeah, I feel like I've just rambled in this section. I'm not sure if I've actually wrapped up what I wanted to say. I think I have. But yeah, I really like it. I like it much more than I thought I was going to, and it's a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. And it's definitely one I feel drawn to pick up and read with all the time. And I've really enjoyed using it. And I'm going to put it away this month because I want to focus on a different deck. But I'm kind of sad. I want to still keep using it for this month as well. But I'm going to put it away for at least a month, and then I'll unpack it out again after that. But yeah, so I've really enjoyed it. I think it's actually a really good deck. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I like seeing what you all think as well. Has anyone got this deck? I don't see it a lot around at the moment. I don't see it a lot on YouTube anyway. I see it a bit on Instagram. Yeah, have you got it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Have you used it for anything that I haven't used it for that I could try it out with as well? I like connecting with you all in the comments. If you like my video, I do these every month, so like and subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of deep dives into decks. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.